Hello, welcome back to A Grown Man Fights His Own Computer Voluntarily and Often Loses. In this episode, rotations. Evil things. Horrible. They smell funny and, they look at you funny and they're just funny in general, but not funny in the fun way, funny in the nasty way. This is going to be following on from the last episode, so if you missed that, maybe go check it out. Maybe go leave a like. Maybe, just be nice. But this week we're going to carry on making the camera controller for my game Perry, which is about a robot in space. Well, on a planet, but the planet's in space. Technically everything's in space if you think about it. But that's too deep for this. You're playing as a rover. She's got a mission to do. It's going to be fun. It's going to be sad. It's going to be everything in between. But first you need to be able to see what you're doing. So, camera controller. Let's get into it. So, for this camera controller we need three elements. One, we need an object that the player can rotate so that they can freely move the camera. Two, we need the camera to smoothly follow this object so that it's not all janky and shaky and gross. And three, this is sort of an optional one, but I quite like it if the camera would revert to its original position after a while. Might not be in the final game, but I think it'd be a cool thing to add just to see if I can do it. So if you saw the last episode, you'll know we can now rotate this object smoothly around the player. Next up, we need to make the camera follow this object, but smoothly, so it doesn't shake around too much. It should be fairly easy if I just, go to the camera, transform the rotation, do a slurp, a slow lerp, a smooth lerp, a slurp. I'm sorry, I'm never going to make that noise again. Basically, it just means that it will smoothly follow a bit of a distance. So let's give that a quick test. Oh my god! Ah! Well, that didn't work. I wonder if it's because the camera target is a child of the camera controller. If I move it to be a child item of Perry, then maybe it won't mess with its own rotation. That could be what's causing it. Let's give this a go. Oh, that doesn't look right. Oh, it still looks like it's bugged. Yeah, that's not gone right. So first off, let's take out any looking up. Let's see if that's messing with it, because that does some things with the rotation of the camera as well. So we comment that out, we give it another test. Hey, that actually looks like it's working. That's okay, so there's something wrong with the lookup function and this one interacting, because this seems pretty snazzy to me. So we know the issue is in this lookup function somewhere. We just have to find it. So this is what the function looks like currently. I think the issue is that we're setting the target angles to be a full Euler angle, when instead we should just focus on the one rotation we want to change. So if we change these two lines and just change the value for the up angle or the down angle, so that means over here where we slurp, we can make the Euler here instead. And that seems to have fixed it. Although I don't know why that's fixed it, but yeah. It's fixed it, I think. Cool. So if we go back to our objectives now, we have a camera that smoothly follows the object the player rotates. So all we need to add now is that the camera will revert to its original position after no input for a little while. And this was actually really easy. Basically just say start a timer, which I bloody love using a timer, because you just say, oh well, get this random value and add time.delta time. I've explained delta time till I'm blue in the face, but I'll do it again anyway, just for you because I like you. Delta time is the time between the last frame and this one, and update is run on every frame. So, every frame we say add the amount of time that passed since we last did this. So then, this just counts up in real time. And then we just check the timer against however many seconds or minutes or years, technically, we want it to wait for. And then we set the rotation of the camera target back to 0, which just means the camera will then smoothly follow it. It means the camera will smoothly follow it. So, now let's give this a quick test. Let's spin the camera around, let's wait a minute, let's check the time is going up, there it is, and bam! Nice. Although I can't look up actually. That is an issue. Why can't I look up? I'm pressing the button, look up angle's being set, I can see it changing in the inspector. Let's try our old trick of commenting out a function and seeing if that helps. No, nothing, still nothing. Isn't that strange? 2 hours later. That was bad. Oh, it'd help if lookup speed was set to anything other than 0. There you go, that all makes sense. Refactoring, renaming variables and then not setting them. That's, happens to the best of us. Yes, there you go. So I can rotate and look up now. All perfect, all working. And nothing's gone wrong. Yeah, perfect. Although, if the timer runs out and I'm looking up, what happens? Okay, that's not great, but we can change that easily. That's fine, just a little change. So all we want to do is add in here to check that we're not looking up. And then I think that's done. So I don't want to get ahead of myself here because we're only a few minutes into the video, but an object the player can rotate, tick, the camera smoothly follows the object, tick, and the camera reverts to its original position. Brilliant. Well, let's call it a wrap there, guys. Let's go home early. Do 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 do. I'm such a good programmer. I'm a genius. Do 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 do. Flying around with my new camera controller. Isn't that cool? I like the way it bounces as well when you move in Perry. When you rotate, look, it sort of stays in its position. That's cool, isn't it? I mean, players won't see this, but you get to see it. That's why you're here, right? For all of the goody-goody goodness. Oh. Well, that doesn't look good. Okay, so spin around, and we'll rotate a little bit, and reset to the original position. Ah. Shit. So, the issue comes when rotating the camera target while Perry isn't at an even angle, because as you can see, it then gets stuck at the other angle if you don't move it. And for some reason, God knows why, that messes with the maths. I mean, it's fairly easy to understand that it could, but why specifically, God knows. That is an answer that only higher powers will ever know. Well, I know that quaternions can be sort of like transforms, where if you multiply them, then perhaps it will just transform it through a different perspective and we won't get the weird rotation stuff. Okay, no, rotation, multiplication is not. That's not what we want, really. That's not how it works. Yeah, it looks really way too quick, actually. I mean, I wonder if we turn down the rotation speed, if that'll have any effect. You know, let's set it to 1, see what the base movement is. Yeah, that feels even quicker, weirdly. I don't know if that's the case, but that feels a lot quicker. Let's try really low, 0.01. And that's no different. Good. How about 0.00001? Nope, that's worse somehow. How is that worse? That's genuinely much worse. Okay, so multiplication wasn't the right thing. Maybe. Okay, so let's try math.abs. I think that changes it to a 0 to 1 figure, which might help with the excessive spinning. No, it won't. Okay. Okay, well that clearly didn't work. Let's just remove multiplying it by anything and see where we're at now. Okay, the target rotates with Perry, and I can't seem to spin it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, that's still broken. Maybe the issue was designing it as a quaternion.euler. Maybe if we set it as a vector 3, the maths might play a bit nicer for some reason. It's worth a go. Absolutely was not worth a go. Oh, maybe it's worth a go. It looks like it's working. Here's the big test. Will it set to the correct position? No, it won't. Okay, still broken. Less broken, but still broken. Maybe instead of Euler angles, we set local Euler angles so that it's not messing with any parenting issues, you know, so we're not taking the player's rotation into account. We just do local Eulers. It seems not enough so far. Let's give it a spin. It seems like it's working, although I can't go that far. It really struggles to turn for some reason. Yeah, that doesn't seem correct. So I can spin when flat. Oh, and it still resets to the wrong place. Okay, well, you know, this truly is 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Oh, now it's just spinning. It's just spinning. 3 step, a massive leap back. We've fallen backwards and we've hit ourselves in the face. So in the end, I gave up. I've just put a script on the camera target. I've just said Euler angles, always set the X and the Z to 0, because I only want to change the Y. That's the only thing that needs to change. So everything else should always be 0, please. Never, just 0, always 0, nothing else. And thankfully, that seems to have worked. It still rotates when Perry moves, but it doesn't stay in that rotation. And then if we let the timer count down, then it goes back to its original position. So we can rotate as much as we want, and it all works fine. Which is annoying that it's so simple. I didn't want to have to just put an extra script on things just to hard code fix it, but I guess that's where we are now. That's just how this is going to have to work. This was I can't impress enough, by the way. This was days of trying to figure out why this wasn't working. I spent hours Googling on random, Stack Overflow and Unity forums. And how useless are they, by the way? Unity forums are the most useless forums I've ever come across. And half the time the answers were either outdated or just straight up didn't work. And what's the point of that? Why would you post on a website and then not answer the question? You always get some sarky person going, oh, well, maybe blah, 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 blah. You should try this. You shouldn't do it like this. But it never works. It doesn't actually help. Whew. Sorry about that. Needed to let off some steam. Anyway, now that that's over, we can start doing some pretty things, like pretty little lights. Ooh. So, to keep this game as immersive as possible, I don't want there to be much UI, and the way we're going to achieve that is by having indicators on Perry. You will have seen there are lights on Perry, and those are going to change based on how much battery you've got, how much boost you've used, what items are in your tank, and so on. Well, actually, I think that's all of them, actually, so not and so on, and so. And so, this is how we're going to make them. It's very simple. First we need to get a reference to each of the indicators for the battery, and then we need to add some checks for how high the battery level is. And then all we do is we say if the battery is below a certain level, turn off a light. And so we just set all of the different levels manually in here, and then we go into the game and we just assign all of those to the inspector. And as you can see, all of the lights turn on. And stay on, apparently. They're supposed to turn off one by one, but they're all still on. And now they're all off, apart from one. 10 points for anybody who can tell me what's wrong with this. That's right, I was comparing it to itself. All we need to do is compare it to the maximum battery level. Then we know what percentage of the battery we've used. So now as we fly around, you can see the lights slowly turn off one by one as we lose power. So good. Now, I want there to be one more level to this battery indicator. I want it to flash red. So for that, you can see me making a red material here. And then we add this little bit of code to act as a timer. So the flashing timer it's another timer. I've explained timers already. Go back like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I don't know how far. Have you even been paying attention? Because I goddamn haven't. Anyway, if the timer is less than half second, then we set it to unlit. And if the battery is more than half second, then we set it to be lit up. And then if the timer gets to a full second, we just reset it. And so it'll just go on and on forever, counting up a second, and every half second it'll change. So then in game we can drive around, get around, I get around, I get a ooh, ooh, ooh. Sorry about that. But now it's gone red, and then when we get to the right threshold, a little bit more. Oh. No, that's not worked either. Why has that not worked? I explained it so well. Should we play another game of why isn't it working? If you guessed I put less than instead of more than, you win! Now we can check again, and once we get to the right battery threshold, then we start to flash every half second. Perfect. And once we've done the same thing for our boost indicator, all we need to do now is add some particle effects. Ooh. Ah. So I followed a great video by this person. I can't remember the name of the video or the person, but I'll find it and I'll put it here. Go and watch this person's video. It's really cool. I basically copied it almost exactly, but I changed the colour to blue because I'm no thief. But yeah, made some cool little repulsor things, and then once I got it looking how I wanted it to look, then I just had to copy it across to the other 4 feet. And there we are. Perry is fully mobile and looks incredible. And the camera can spin around to show you all of the glowy uppy bits, all of the shiny bits, all of the bits that I've changed. And all that's left for me to say is thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you want. It really helps. I like to know that people are there. Leave a comment. What else do you think I should add? I mean, I've added some other stuff, so I might have already done it. But if you've got any suggestions, or if you just wanted to say hi, nice to meet you, I think you're really cool, and I would say thank you very much. Please do that in the comments below. And I'll see you next month. Bye! Oh no! Oh. I think we got it under control. Whew! Lightheaded.